Eric Victor Burdon is an English singer-songwriter best known as a member and vocalist of rock band The Animals and the funk band War, and for his aggressive stage performance. He was ranked 57th in Rolling Stone's list the 100 greatest singers of all time. Career: The Animals. Burdon was lead singer of The Animals, formed during 1962 in Newcastle upon Tyne, England. The original band was the Alan Price Combo, which formed in 1958. They became The Animals shortly after Burdon joined the band. The Animals combined electric blues with rock and in the USA were one of the leading bands of the British invasion. Along with the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Dave Clark Five, and the Kinks, the group introduced British music and fashion. Burdon's powerful voice can be heard on The Animals' singles The House of the Rising Sun, Sky Pilot, Monterey, I'm Crying, Boom Boom, Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood, Bring It On Home to Me, Baby Let Me Take You Home, It's My Life, We Got to Get Out of This Place, Don't Bring Me Down, and CC Rider. By late 1966, the other original members, including keyboardist Alan Price, had left. Burdon and drummer Barry Jenkins reformed the group as Eric Burdon and The Animals. This more psychedelic incarnation featured future family member John Wedder and was sometimes called Eric Burdon and the New Animals. Keyboardist Zoot Money joined during 1968 until they split up in 1969. This group's hits included the ballad San Franciscan Nights, the grunge Euro heavy metal Pioneering, When I Was Young, Monterey, the anti-Vietnam anthem Sky Pilot, and the progressive cover of Ring of Fire. In 1975, the original Animals reunited and recorded an album called Before We Were So Rudely Interrupted, released in 1977 and overlooked due to the dawning of punk. In May 1983, the Animals reunited with their original lineup and released the album Arc on June 16, 1983, along with the singles The Night, and Love Is For All Time. A world tour followed, and the concert at Wembley Arena, London, recorded on December 31, 1983, was released in 1984 as Rip It to Shreds. Their concert at the Royal Oak Theatre in April 1984 was released in 2008 as Last Live Show. The band members were augmented by Zoot Money, Nippy Neuer, Steve Gregory, and Steve Grant. The original Animals broke up for the last time at the end of 1984. Although the band Burdon formed in the late 1960s was sometimes called Eric Burdon and the New Animals, it wasn't until 1998 that the name Eric Burdon and the New Animals was officially adopted. The 1998 band had bassist Dave Miros, guitarist Dean Reston, drummer Ainsley Dunbar and keyboard guitarist Neil Morse. They recorded Live at the Coach House on October 17, 1998, released on video and DVD in December that year. In 1999 they released the official Live Bootleg No. 2 and in August 2000 the official Live Bootleg 2000, with Martin Gershwitz on keyboards. In June 2003, he formed another Eric Burdon and the Animals, with keyboardist Martin Gershwitz, bassist Dave Miros, guitarist Dean Reston, and drummer Bernie Pershy. They disbanded in 2005. During 2008 Burdon toured again as Eric Burdon and the Animals with a variable lineup of backing musicians. On December 13, 2008, Burdon lost a 3-year legal battle to win the name The Animals in the UK. Since then drummer John Steele owned the rights in the UK only. Burdon still tours as Eric Burdon and the Animals, but was prevented from using the name The Animals in Britain while the case was under appeal. Steele was a member in its heyday and left before the band split up in 1966. Steele later played in various reunion versions of the band with Burdon. On September 9, 2013 Burdon's appeal was allowed. Eric Burdon is now entitled to use the name The Animals in the UK. War. During 1969, while living in San Francisco, Burdon joined forces with Californian funk rock band War. The resulting album was entitled Eric Burdon Declares War, which produced the singles Spill the Wine, and Tobacco Road. A 2-disc set entitled The Black Man's Burden, was released later in September 1970. The singles from the double album, Paint It Black, and They Can't Take Away Our Music, had moderate success during 1971. During this time Burdon collapsed on the stage during a concert, caused by an asthma attack, and War continued the tour without him. In 1976, a compilation album, Love Is All Around, released by ABC Records, included recordings of Eric Burdon with War doing a live version of Paint It Black, and a cover of the Beatles' song A Day in the Life. The band also featured ex-NFL star Deacon Jones, who coined the term quarterback sack, and sang on the band's 1975 song, Why Can't We Be Friends? Eric Burdon and War were reunited for the first time in 37 years, to perform an Eric Burdon and War reunion at the concert at the Royal Albert Hall, London on April 21, 2008. The concert coincided with a major reissue campaign by Rhino Records, which released all the War albums including Eric Burdon Declares War, and The Black Man's Burden. Solo career. Burdon began a solo career in 1971 with the Eric Burdon Band, continuing with a hard rock, a Euro heavy metal, a Euro funk style. In August 1971, he recorded the album Guilty, which featured the blues shouter Jimmy Witherspoon, and also Ek White of the San Quentin Prison Band. In 1973, the band performed at the Reading Festival, and in 1974 they traveled to New York City. At the end of 1974, the band released the album Sun Secrets, and this was followed by the album Stop in 1975. Burdon moved to Germany in 1977 and recorded the album Survivor with a lineup including guitarist Alexis Korner and keyboardist Zoot Money. The album also had a lineup of 4 guitarists and 3 keyboard players and is known for its interesting album cover, which depicts Burdon screaming. The album was produced by former Animals bassist Chas Chandler. The original release included a booklet of illustrated lyrics done in ink by Burdon himself. In May 1978, he recorded the album Darkness Darkness at the Roundwood House in County Mayo, Republic of Ireland, using Ronnie Lane's mobile studio and featuring guitarist and vocalist Bobby Tench from the Jeff Beck Group, who had left Streetwalkers a few months before. The album was eventually released in 1980. During January 1979, Burdon changed his band for a tour taking in Hamburg, Germany, and the Netherlands. On August 28, 1982, the Eric Burdon Band including Red Young performed at the Rockpalast open-air concert in Loreley, Germany. Following this, Burdon toured heavily with his solo project from March 1984 to March 1985, taking in UK, Spain, Germany, Sweden, Canada and Australia. In 1986, Burdon published his autobiography entitled I Used to Be an Animal, But I'm All Right Now. In March 1979, he played a concert in Cologne and changed the band's name to Eric Burdon's Fire Department, whose lineup included backing vocalist Jackie Cutter of Silver Convention, Bertram Engel of Udo Lindenberg's Panic Orchestra, and Jean-Jacques Kravitz. In mid-1980, they recorded the album The Last Drive. Eric Burdon's Fire Department toured Europe with this lineup, and Paul Millens and Louisiana Red made special appearances in Spain and Italy. By December 1980, the band had broken up. In April 1981, Christine Bushman began to film Come Back with Burdon as the star. They created a new Eric Burdon Band, whose lineup included Louisiana Red, Tony Braunagel, John Sterling and Snuffy Walden. This band recorded live tracks in Los Angeles. They also recorded in Berlin with another lineup, the only remaining member being John Sterling. In September 1981, the final scenes of Come Back were shot in the Berlin Metropole, and Burdon and his band continued to tour through Australia and North America. A studio album titled Come Back was released in 1982. The 1983 album Power Company also included songs recorded during the Come Back project. In 1988, he put together a band with 15 musicians including Andrew Giddings a Euro keyboards, Steve Stroud a Euro bass, Adrian Shepherd a Euro drums, Jamie Moses a Euro guitar and 4 backing vocalists to record the album I Used to Be an Animal in Malibu, in the United States. In 1990, Eric Burdon's cover version of 16 Tons was used for the film Joe vs. the Volcano. The song, which played at the beginning of the film, was also released as a single. He also recorded the singles We Got to Get Out of This Place with Katrina and the Waves and No Man's Land with Tony Carey and Dan Hages. Later in 1990, he had a small lineup of an Eric Burdon band featuring Jimmy Zivler, Dave Miros, bass, Jeff Nido, Thom Mooney and John Sterling before he began a tour with the Doors guitarist Robbie Krieger, and they appeared at a concert from Ventura Beach, California, which was released as a DVD on June 20, 2008. On April 13, 2004, he released a comeback album, My Secret Life, which was his first album with new recordings for 16 years. When John Lee Hooker died in 2001, Burdon had written the song Can't Kill the Boogeyman. The co-writers of the songs, on the album, were Tony Braunagel and Marcelo Nova. In 2005, they released a live album, Athens Traffic Live, with special DVD bonus material and a bonus studio track, and disbanded in November 2005. He began a short touring as the Blues Knights. On January 27, 2006, he released his Blues R&B album Soul of a Man. This album was dedicated to Ray Charles and John Lee Hooker. The cover of the album was a picture which was sent to Burdon a few years before. Burdon then formed a new band, with the following members: Red Young, Paul Work, Eric McFadden, Carl Carlton, and Wally Ingram. They also performed at the Lugano Festival, and in 2007 he toured as the headlining act of the Hippie Fist lineup, produced and hosted by Country Joe McDonald. Burdon, at 71, recorded an EP with Cincinnati garage band The Greenhorns called, simply, Eric Burdon and the Greenhorns. The album was recorded at an all-analog recording studio, and released on November 23, 2012 as part of Record Store Day's Black Friday. In 2013, Eric Burdon came out with a new album called, Till Your River Runs Dry. The lead single off the album was called, Water, and was inspired by a conversation he had with former Soviet Premier Mikhail Gorbachev. Other associations: in 1991, Burdon and Brian Auger formed the Eric Burdon Brian Auger Band with the following lineup: Eric Burdon vocals, Brian Auger keyboards, vocals, Dave Miros bass, vocals, Don Kirkpatrick guitar, vocals, and Paul Crowder drums, vocals. By 1992, Larry Wilkins replaced Kirkpatrick and Karma Auger replaced Crowder, and in 1993 they added Richard Riguria. The live album Access All Areas was then released. In 1994 the Eric Burdon Brian Auger Band disbanded. Burdon then formed the Eric Burdon's I Band. The lineup included Larry Wilkins, Dean Reston, Dave Miros and Mark Rainey. In 1995, Burdon made a guest appearance with Bon Jovi, singing It's My Life / We Got to Get Out of This Place medley at the Hall of Fame. He also released the album Lost Within the Halls of Fame, with past tracks and re-recordings of some songs from I Used to Be an Animal. In October 1996, Ainsley Dunbar replaced Craney on drums. The official live bootleg was recorded in 1997, and in May that year Larry Wilkins died of cancer. He also released the compilations Soldier of Fortune and I'm Ready, which featured recordings from the 1970s and 1980s. In 2000, he recorded the song Power to the People together with Ringo Starr and Billy Preston for the motion picture Steal This Movie. On May 11, 2001, the Animals were inducted into the Rock Walk of Fame on Burdon's 60th birthday. On March 3, 2002, the live album Live in Seattle was recorded. Ex-War member Lee Oskar made a guest appearance on the album. In 2003 he made a guest appearance on the album Joyous in the City of Fools by the Greek rock band Pixlax, singing lead vocal on Someone Wrote Save Me on a Wall. In 2001, his second critically acclaimed memoir, Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood, written with author-filmmaker J. Marshall Craig, was released in the US, followed by editions in Greece, Germany and Australia. On June 7, 2008, Burdon performed at the memorial service of Bo Diddley in Gainesville, Florida. During July and August 2008, Burdon appeared as the headline act of the Hippie Fist. He also recorded the single For What It's Worth with Carl Carlton and Max Buskell. On November 12, 2008, Rolling Stone ranked Eric Burdon number 57 on the list of the 100 greatest singers of all time. On January 22, 2009 he first performed with his new band, including keyboardist Red Young, guitarist Rick Hirsch, bass player Jack Bryant and drummer Ed Friedland. For a few months he was sick and did not perform except in the United States. On June 26, he began his European tour. The band includes Red Young, Billy Watts, Terry Wilson, Brannon Temple and Georgia DeGarke. On August 7, the tour ended. On Monday 28 January 2013, Eric Burdon made a rare appearance performing on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, backed by The Roots. Fallon hyped Burdon's current album, Till Your River Runs Dry. On Tuesday 23 July 2013, he guested on stage with Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band at Cardiff Millennium Stadium, performing We Got to Get Out of This Place. In August 2013, he toured with Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. Influence: the sound of the Animals influenced many Britpop, alternative rock and power pop groups as well as the bands Deep Purple, The Black Crowes, The Hives, Grand Funk Railroad, MC5, The White Stripes, and his voice has been highly respected by many singers such as Jim Morrison, Robert Plant, Tom Petty, David Johansen, Joe Cocker, Bruce Springsteen, Ian Hunter, Ryan Adams, Julian Ohm, Jack White, John Mellencamp and Dan Zanes. Film career: Burdon wanted to act in the film Blow Up. Director Michelangelo Antonioni wanted to use him as a musician in a club scene, but Burdon turned the role down because he had acted in films before wherein he sang songs. He disbanded the Animals and went to California, where he met Jim Morrison and came to the realization that his real inspiration was acting. Later, he turned down major roles in Zabriskie Point and Performance. In 1973, he formed the Eric Burdon Band and recorded the soundtrack for his own film project, Mirage. He spent much money to make this film, produced as a film for Atlantic. A film and the soundtrack were to be released in July 1974, but somehow they never were. The soundtrack was released in 2008. In 1979, he acted in the TV film The 11th Victim, then in the German film Weskermanie. In 1982, he starred in another German film, Comeback, again as a singer. In 1991, he had a cameo appearance in The Doors. In 1998, he acted as himself in the Greek film My Brother and I, followed by a bigger role in the German film Snow on New Year's Eve. In the following years, he was credited in many documentaries and in an independent film called Fabulous Cheeksa in Distress, along with Ned Romero and Ted Markland. In 2007, he performed the traditional Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child in the drama festival film The Blue Hour and in a documentary about Joshua Tree, Where Burdon Lives, called Nowhere Now. Discography. Filmography, references. Further reading: Burdon, Eric. I Used to Be an Animal, But I'm All Right Now. Faber and Faber. ISBN A0-571-13492-0. Kent, Jeff. The Last Poet, The Story of Eric Burdon. Witten Books. ISBN A0-9508981-2-0. Egan, Sean. Animal Tracks: A Euro Updated and Expanded, The Story of the Animals, Newcastle's Rising Suns. Askill Publishing. ISBN A978-0-9545750-4-5. Burdon, Eric. Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood, a Memoir. Thunder's Mouth Press. ISBN A1-56025-330-4. Carroll, Sherry. Even Rock and Roll Has Fairy Tales, The Flight of the Shiny Happy Sherry Fairy. Book Tango. ISBN A978-46892-637-8. External links: Eric Burdon website, Eric Burdon interview from 2009, Eric Burdon interviewed on the Pop Chronicles.